I went from knowing absolutely zero Chinese to becoming a professional interpreter and translator for the British Embassy in Beijing. I did that in 6 years, and while that might sound impressive, I could have saved myself thousands of hours if I had studied smarter. So stick around to the end of this video because I'm going to be telling you what I would do if I were to learn Mandarin all over again from scratch. And if you implement these things in your own life and your own study, you're going to save yourself tons of time. The first thing I would do is define my study goals. And this is super important because depending on what your goals are, it will shape the kind of study plan that you need to follow. So are you trying to pass the HSK for a study abroad program? Are you trying to learn Chinese to communicate with a loved one or their family in China? Are you looking to work in the diplomatic field like I was? Or do you just want to learn enough conversational Chinese to get around on your next trip to China? These are all super important questions to consider, and I didn't consider any of them. I just kind of jumped into learning Chinese haphazardly. I decided I was going to be the best I possibly could. I wanted to master the language. I just went out, got a textbook, sat in my room, and started feverishly studying away by myself. The problem with that approach is you can end up wasting a lot of time learning stuff that you're never ever going to use or need. And I can tell you right now, my head is absolutely full of old Chinese proverbs, bits of poems, medical terminology, all kinds of stuff which I spent ages learning and which I will never use. So first things first, figure out exactly what kind of a speaker you want to be. What are your goals? And then start reverse engineering your study plan from that. If you are just looking for conversational Chinese to get around China on your trip, there's going to be specific vocab for that. If you want to go into the diplomatic field, international relations, or current affairs, you can actually fast track by learning very specific vocabulary that comes up again and again. And you can save yourself a lot of time by just learning a lot of these sentence structures. The second thing I do is start studying with the teacher straight away. Unfortunately, most of my Chinese was self-taught, so this is reflected in my skill set. My reading and my writing are very good, but my speaking and my listening are not as strong. And I always feel the main mark of language fluency is really how well you speak the language. So if you're learning Mandarin from scratch, I would recommend you just get out there, get a teacher as soon as possible, start mimicking the tones. And even if you are not in a position where you can work with somebody one-on-one, you can go online and find an online tutor there. The third point is related to the last point, and that is start speaking from day one. I was sitting in my room just studying by myself with a big pile of textbooks, and I really regret that. I wish I had started mastering my spoken Chinese from the very get-go, because really speaking Chinese is, I think, the hardest skill, especially mastering the tones and the pronunciation, and you need to give your muscles and your tongue a lot of chance to really learn those patterns and those shapes. So just start from day one, get speaking, because I think that's the master skill when you're learning Chinese, and it's also the most impressive. The fourth thing I would do if I was learning Mandarin from scratch would be to start with frequency. That means to strategically learn characters based on how frequently they come up. For me, I was learning haphazardly from different textbooks, and I was picking up random bits of vocab like commemorative stamps and other things that I would never ever use. So start with frequency. Start learning the 1,000 most commonly used Chinese characters, and that will help you unlock a huge amount of daily conversation and give you more motivation because you're seeing so much return on your investment early on. The fifth thing I would do is I would leverage technology. There's now a great array of technological tools that you can use that weren't available when I was first studying. You can use Anki to do your flashcards, and these help because they use spaced repetition, and this is proven by neuroscience to be the best way to absorb new vocab. You can also use AI tools, and I'm doing this myself because I'm learning Vietnamese from scratch at the moment, and I'm working with ChatGPT, and it's giving me very good sentence structures, new bits of vocabulary, and I just chat away with ChatGPT as if it's a partner. You can also use other apps like italki or Omegle or HelloTalk, and these will allow you to start practicing straight away and finding language partners. This is super helpful and not something that I had available to me when I first started. The final thing I would do if I was learning Mandarin from scratch would be to use the 70-30 rule, and that would be to practice 70% and study 30%. And this might sound a little bit strange, a little bit counterintuitive, but I can tell you right now, my head is cram-packed with so many words, phrases, bits of vocab that I have just never had a chance to use because I have not spoken enough in my daily life. It's really just a matter of getting it all out there. So please practice way more than you study. You only need to learn about 1,000 characters to then be able to hold a conversation. So follow this rule. Practice 70%, study 30%. You're going to enjoy your language learning way more, and you're going to get to use what you learn and not be in the situation I'm in now with tens of thousands of words stuck in my head, which I barely get a chance to use. So these are the things I would do if I was learning Mandarin all over again. Define your study goals, get a teacher as early as possible, start speaking from day one, learn characters based on frequency, leverage technology, and use the 70-30 rule where you practice way more than you study. I really hope this will be useful for you and you can save yourself loads of the time that I wasted. Drop a comment below because I'd love to hear your thoughts.